mended the shattered faces of our war wounded, turns to the gentler task of restoring tranquility to the face and mind of womanhood. Even the burden of an outsized inheritance need be suffered no longer, now that the healing hand of plastic surgery can bring relief.
In this video, I'm going to talk about the history of plastic surgery in old Hollywood and how it's changed over the years. Hello lovelies, my name is Laura, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the history of plastic surgery in old Hollywood. It's no secret that Hollywood has always been obsessed with looks and youth, but what you may not know is how far people have gone to maintain their appearance. I'm going to show you some shocking photos from back in the day and talk about how things have changed over the years. So stay tuned. Plastic surgery has come a long way since its humble beginnings centuries ago. We've gone from plastic surgeons mending the faces of warriors riddled with battle scars to plastic surgery becoming synonymous with the quest for youth and beauty. The term plastic surgery literally comes from the Greek word plastikos, which means to mold or give form. And while plastic surgeons were originally helping those in need of reconstructive surgeries, they now help people perfect their looks. Despite plastic surgery being used as a tool to improve one's physical beauty, it was also originally meant for medical necessity. So if it's time for you to refresh your look, just remember that plastic surgery has been around for centuries. So why not use it to bring out your inner youthful beauty? Egyptians are known for their incredible innovation, and the Edwin Smith papyrus is a captivating testament to this. The medical text, thought to be an early trauma surgery textbook, shows us that Egyptians dealt with wounds, bone fractures, and even nasal injuries in quite sophisticated and creative ways. For instance, Egyptians were able to manipulate the nose into desired positions using wooden splints, lint swabs, linen plugs, and other materials before setting it in place. Prosthetics were also used. In the year 2000, a mummy was identified as having a prosthetic toe that may have helped support her walking. It's mind-blowing to think of this kind of care being available so long ago. Egyptians truly had advanced medical knowledge for the time period that modern science can still learn from. The plastic surgery industry has long been the subject of debate and research, with experts all across the globe researching the history and implications of plastic surgery. Justin Youssef, a prominent plastic surgery researcher, recently published a paper in the European Journal of Plastic Surgery, which sparked further discussion around whether such procedures could be considered plastic surgery or not. According to Youssef, it is India where historians have found the first description of reconstruction proper when discussing plastic surgery. As plastic surgery continues to evolve and become more commonplace, debates like these will continue to happen, ultimately allowing us a better understanding of plastic surgery's true place in history. It is so interesting that plastic surgery has been around since the 6th century BC. The physician Sushruta, who people often say is the father of plastic surgery, wrote about a skin grafting technique in an incredible treatise known as Sushruta Samhita. This means that Indians from hundreds of years ago were performing operations like modern-day cosmetic rhinoplasty, and that's kind of wild if you asked me, thinking they were doing that so long ago. Even crazier is the fact that this ancient technique for plastic surgery was remarkably advanced for its time. So this surgeon was definitely a genius for his time. For thousands of years, repair of noses was a procedure as important in Egypt as elsewhere. The implications, however, were not all about medical necessity, according to research conducted by Youssef, a Sydney-based trainee surgeon. Noses, in fact, held a dual significance for the ancients, both for subsequent health benefits and for punishing wrongdoers by publicly shaming them. Removing the nose from someone who had committed a crime against society was an effective way to both administer justice and provide a visual demonstration of and symbol of their wrongdoing, which could never be forgotten forgotten or denied. And that is insane. Imagine every time you did a crime, a part of your body was cut off. All through history, the patient's motive had added dimensions to this operation beyond simply restoring a physical appearance or health. And can you imagine having new noses? It may sound like science fiction, but thanks to this ancient technique by Sushruta, this is now possible. Sushruta's approach involved utilizing skin extracted from the foreheads or cheeks of the patient and transporting it to where the new nose was to be built. His extensive investigation into new nose construction has been studied by several contemporaries who continue exploring new approaches that go even beyond Sushruta's own revolutionary contributions, bringing us even closer to helping people sculpt new features for their face. And did you know that ancient civilizations were already honing their surgical techniques centuries before the birth of modern medicine? In the 4th century BCE, Chinese doctors reportedly performed a successful cleft lip repair, an amazing feat considering their technique must have been quite rudimentary. At the time in Rome, Alice Cornelius Celsus was documenting the procedure for removing excess skin near a patient's eyes. This truly shows us that these ancient civilizations held a relatively advanced understanding of clinical processes and are well worth remembering today. And wow, have you guessed that people even a few thousand years ago were already performing eye rejuvenation surgeries? And yes, it is true. Celsus, one of the first medical documenters of this time period, wrote about procedures that would be now considered an eyelid rejuvenation surgery. And to me, that is crazy. God, I would not want someone to operate on my eyes. Even nowadays, it seems intense. As Youssef emphasized, these methods were mostly used when someone's lashes had become inverted and started to obstruct their vision. In turn, the goal was to shorten the eyelids so that the hairs wouldn't reach their eyes anymore. It really goes to show how far medical practices have come in such a short time period. In the ancient world, it was all about relief and necessity for medical procedures. Wine was not a luxury, just a pain reliever, an anesthetic to take away patients' suffering. So just imagine being awake for that. According to Youssef, this meant that beauty enhancements were less common and surgeries were reserved only for those who really needed them. A true testament of how far medicine has come. And we have definitely left the wine anesthesia days behind, thank goodness. The field of plastic surgery has seen many advances since its inception, yet progress was incredibly slow until the development of modern germ theory and the invention of anesthesia during the 19th century. But what has been an even bigger influence, during the World Wars, it became increasingly important to find effective treatments for physical injuries and war-related trauma, forcing doctors to develop better techniques for reconstructive surgery. This then allowed them to apply these same principles further within their field, leading to rapid progress in aesthetic surgeries like those involving breast implants. Thanks to war, we now have a much safer and natural-looking approach when it comes to this particular surgery. During the war, World War I presented doctors with a unique opportunity. They were presented with an immense amount of facial injuries which had to be treated differently, and new techniques were developed to deal with this. Thanks to developments in blood transfusions and in infection control, these doctors weren't afraid to experiment and develop new treatments. Andrew Bamji's book, Faces of the Front, describes how these advancements in wartime medicine eventually led to modern-day plastic surgery. It's an interesting reminder of how war can inspire innovation and push us forward, entering the mainstream. After the Second World War, plastic surgery underwent a rapid transformation due to increased disposable incomes and improved, more accessible technology. More people were able to afford and take advantage of plastic surgery, resulting in its popularization. And if that wasn't enough, with the surplus of doctors returning from war, procedures could be done safely and efficiently, making it even easier for folks to opt in for some self-improvement. How wild wild is that? We certainly have come a long way since then. As the technology used in it was refined and more accessible, people increasingly sought out procedures to change their physical features for non-medical reasons. Where before surgeons had operated solely with the goal of restoring function and improving health, now they were being asked to perform reconstructive work that emphasized aesthetic appeal. This new trend of repairing faces, not only for medical but also for vanity's sake, helped earn plastic surgery the distinction that it has today. Botox is a marvel of modern science, and even more so when you consider its initial purpose. Coming into practice back in the late 1960s and 70s, Botox was originally intended to treat crossed eyes, but then cosmetics saw potential in the injections, which sparked an incredible evolution of Botox's role. After the US Food and Drug Administration approved its use to treat frown lines in 2002, a whole new world opened up for those seeking to erase wrinkles from their faces. It wasn't long before its medical mission expanded again as doctors started employing Botox for other things like reducing migraines and spasms. And as if they weren't already cool enough, last year researchers made a remarkable discovery about how Botox can help with depression. By capping negative facial expressions through injections, this study found that we could short-circuit any negative feedback loop that may have been happening. And what caused the plastic surgery explosion in the 90s? Was it high-end celebrity endorsements, an affordable economy of scale, or was it due to a new aesthetic of desirability as proposed by Ruth Holliday, a gender and cultural professor at Leeds University? It could have been a combination of these elements that saw the number of cosmetic procedures performed in the US nearly double. Clearly, patients recognize the value and worth in fixing their perceived physical flaws despite the social stigma that often follows those who use these services. This incredible period marked an evolution in attitudes toward the pursuit of cosmetic perfection and is now one fundamentally embedded in our society today. And now let's dive into old Hollywood and plastic surgery. Old Hollywood was full of glamour, and stars of that era often sought to enhance their appearance with the latest plastic surgery techniques. No matter what cosmetic procedures old Hollywood stars decided on to promote ageless beauty and make themselves more camera ready, the impact these famous individuals had on the culture of Hollywood plastic surgery will never be forgotten. And let's look at classic Hollywood celebrity plastic surgery. And the first on the list is Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe has been seen as one of the most beautiful actresses to ever grace the silver screen, but few people know that Marilyn had some help achieving her iconic look. Marilyn's medical records, including x-rays of her face, were auctioned in 2013 and revealed that Marilyn had gotten some multiple cosmetic surgeries to help define her face. In 1949, Marilyn underwent a chin surgery after she heard unflattering remarks about being a chinless wonder in order to add shape and definition to her face. Despite her procedures, Marilyn was known for being naturally beautiful while possessing a strong charisma which shined through on screen. Hedy Lamarr was an incredible woman at both acting and inventing. Many of her inventions were amazing, particularly the radio guidance system she developed at the start of World War II, which used frequency hopping spread spectrum to help defeat the threat of radio jamming. Hedy Lamarr had a spectacularly beautiful face, and both earning the nickname Most Beautiful Woman on Film, and never wanted to lose that look as she aged. As such, she resorted to plastic surgery throughout her life. Hedy is expected to have had a facelift, rhinoplasty, lip fillers, and even Botox injections during her quest for eternal youth. Hedy Lamarr is an inspiration, and she sought to achieve greatness in all facets of her life, both acting and inventing, succeeding every time. And next we have Mary Pickford. Mary Pickford is known as one of the most iconic stars in the silent movie era, But not many people are aware that Mary Pickford was one of the brave people who decided to go under the knife even before safe plastic surgery became available. Mary Pickford, who famously helped movie studios along with the Academy of Motion Pictures of Arts and Sciences, reportedly had multiple facelifts throughout her life. While these procedures resulted in Mary having limited mobility in her face, she continues to remain a beloved star in popular culture today. And next we have Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford's cosmetic endeavors show that she was one determined old Hollywood star. In 1953, Joan took a break from acting. When she returned, it was clear that she had undergone a breast implant surgery and a facelift. However, these weren't Joan's first venture into the world of vanity. Joan also underwent an unsuccessful cosmetic dentistry procedure, which resulted in her trademark Joan Crawford lip. A book detailed how Joan had her back molars removed to give her a more defined cheekbones and filed down her front teeth in order for temporary caps to be placed over them. Unfortunately, Joan's decaying teeth were the result of a gum infection because of the caps began to wear away at the teeth. Joan Crawford certainly bent over backwards, sometimes literally to look her best. Joan Crawford found her iconic look after creating the famous Crawford mouth. After catching an infection, and Joan's upper lip had become longer and elongated, giving her an iconic yet asymmetrical smile. In order to match her upper lip, Joan decided to overline her lower lip, resulting in a perfect Hollywood pout. This simple technique soon became widely known as the Crawford mouth and became Joan's signature style that made her recognizable for decades to come. And next we have Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth was the epitome of old Hollywood glamour. But what many people don't know is how Rita achieved her sultry look. Born Margarita Carmen Cancino and of Spanish descent, Rita's hairline was seen as too ethnic for the heyday of Hollywood's white beauty ideals. So she altered it by undergoing a year-long process of electrolysis. This process involved using an electric current to shock the follicles in order to stop hair growth beneath Rita's natural hairline. After a year, the procedure had drastically modified Rita's look, raising her hairlines by an inch, which helped launch her career. Rita Hayworth brought something special to old Hollywood, and we can all thank her unique transformation for that. But I will say that she looked beautiful before that anyways, so I'm not saying that she needed it. Marlene Dietrich is known for her timeless beauty, particularly her jaw-dropping cheekbones that could cut glass. But did you know that Hollywood's leading lady had to undergo quite an extreme procedure in order to highlight the hollows of her cheeks? According to folklore, Marlene had her molars removed in order to define and emphasize her famous angular cheekbones. I'm sure fillers sound painful enough, and Marlene certainly took it up a notch by going under a dental chair for this daring transformation back in the day. Luckily, people don't have to do that nowadays. And Marlene had a bottomless threshold for pain, and her preferred form of skin tightening technique that involved both surgical tape and a few strategically twisted pieces of her own hair. That's right, the Academy Award-winning actress developed her own facelift method, an ingenious but slightly bizarre beauty hack used to pull the skin around her face back. It seemed Marlene had discovered genuine magic in this atypical facelift, as she often dazzled audiences despite her age, leaving all of us to assume that perhaps Marlene had found the fountain of youth with her unconventional take on skincare. Clark Gable is a legendary actor known for his iconic roles in films such as Gone with the Wind. But did you know Clark Gable also took steps to make sure his look was up to par in Hollywood standards? In 1933, Clark had decided to undergo an otoplasty procedure which altered the look of his ears in order for them to be smaller. It also turns out that Clark Gable had an unfortunate gum disease that caused him to have quite a few teeth removed, making Clark wear dentures from a very early age. His fellow actors reported Clark having bad breath regularly due to this condition and the wearing of dentures while filming scenes. Whether Clark Gable's appearance changes helped further his career or not can only be speculated, but it's evident he was willing to go through some dramatic measures to set him apart from the others in Hollywood at the time. And next we have Gloria Swanson. Gloria Swanson was a trailblazing actress. After undergoing cosmetic surgery in 1953 to give her a boost for her memorable MGM comeback, Crawford proclaimed the face and boobs were new, only the ass is the same. Her friend Mamie Van Doren stated Gloria had everything done when preparing for her iconic role as Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard. Gloria's views on such procedures had a certain degree of philosophical insight. She famously told Mike Wallace in 1957, "I think it's the male who has done this to the woman, made her self-conscious about a wrinkle here and a wrinkle there." Gloria refused to bow down to societal pressures to remain constantly youthful and offered a thoughtful perspective into why many women feel the need for such treatments. And that was an interesting dive into the plastic surgery transformation that has taken place here in old Hollywood. It's crazy to think that just how drastically plastic surgery has changed and evolved over the years, with some stars going far back as the 1920s to enhance their appearance. Nowadays, plastic surgery and cosmetic procedures are more popular than ever, with Botox clinics on every corner like a Starbucks. They can completely transform someone's appearance and make them feel more confident with no judgment either, especially considering plastic surgery was part of Tinseltown since practically day one. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know if you want me to cover any other secrets in Hollywood. All right, I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.